Mom kicked me out for being ungrateful. Weeks later, Dad demanded I pay the mortgage. My reply started a family war. Hey, I'm Evan. I'm 27, and about half a year ago, I left my parents' house thinking it was for good. No door slamming, no shouting, just a duffel bag with some clothes and my laptop. I was done, totally done. But here I am, sitting on my couch in my new place, staring at my buzzing phone as my parents' messages light up the screen like a bad joke. It's almost funny, almost. But let's rewind a bit because you're probably wondering how I ended up here. Growing up, my parents weren't exactly the warm and fuzzy type. They weren't abusive, but love in our house came with strings attached. I was the responsible one, the dependable kid who never caused trouble or gave them a reason to complain. My older brother Zach was the golden child. He could do no wrong, even when he was obviously wrong. Dropped out of college? Just finding himself. Got fired from 3 jobs? Corporate jobs just didn't get his creativity. At 30, he moved back home with no job or prospects, but times are tough. Meanwhile, I got my first job at 16, put myself through college with scholarships and part-time work, and started in finance right after graduation. I never asked my parents for money, but guess who did? Zach. And guess who was expected to chip in when mortgage payments became an issue? Yep, me. At first, I didn't mind helping. They were my parents, and families support each other, right? But the guilt trips were sly. Mom would sigh dramatically, complaining about being short on cash, while Dad would casually mention how Zach was trying so hard and just needed more time. This turned into me covering utility bills, then groceries, and eventually, taking on their mortgage. Meanwhile, Zach just hung out, playing video games like he was a guest in his own house. Things came to a head 6 months ago. It was a Sunday, and I stopped by with groceries because I knew they'd forget to shop again. I walked in to find Mom looking annoyed, Zach chilling on the couch, and Dad appearing disappointed in me for no apparent reason. Before I knew it, Mom hit me with the dreaded, "We need to talk." Dad said they thought it was time for me to contribute more. Apparently, because I made good money, it was unfair that I wasn't helping more. I was already paying a lot, but Mom scoffed at my efforts. Zach piped up, saying they've done a lot for us. Us? I didn't see him paying for anything. When I pointed this out, Mom snapped, insisting Zach was doing his best. I laughed, saying from where I stood, he was trying to break the record for doing nothing. Dad jumped in, telling me to step up because the house was too much for them to handle alone. Good son, eh? Something inside me broke. I had given them everything, and it was never enough. Calmly, I clarified their expectations that I cover everything while Zach kept up his nothingness. Mom insisted, as their son, I'd help the family. And Zach? I asked if he was a house plant. Zach glared, claiming he didn't ask for this. Mom warned me not to come back if I walked out. I smiled and said, okay, and just left. No drama, no shouting. I moved into my own apartment, feeling like I could finally breathe. But today was different. After half a year of silence, Dad texted, asking why I hadn't paid the mortgage. I felt a mix of dark satisfaction and calmly replied, "Oh, I thought I wasn't welcome." My phone buzzed like crazy with messages from my parents and, surprisingly, Zach too. I watched the flood of notifications, knowing I still wasn't done with this whole situation. At first, I just sat back with my arms crossed, staring at my phone like it was a wild animal. I could already picture the chaos on the other side. Mom was probably losing it, demanding how I could be so selfish after all they'd done for me. Dad would try to sound all reasonable, appealing to my sense of duty, but I knew he'd crack into frustration when I didn't jump to respond. And Zach? Who even knew with him? If I had to guess, he was probably gearing up for a guilt trip or pretending he had nothing to do with this mess. Finally, curiosity got the best of me, and I picked up my phone. Sure enough, Mom had texted, "What is wrong with you? How could you do this to us? The bank just called, and we're late on the mortgage. Are you really this cruel?" Then Dad chimed in, "Evan, this is serious. We can't afford to be behind on the mortgage. We could lose the house. Call me now." Mom was relentless, "I can't believe you're doing this out of spite. We raised you, and look how you repay us? You think you're punishing us, but you're just hurting your family." Dad added, "Don't be childish. You're not a kid anymore, and we can't handle this alone. You need to step up." And Zach texted, "Dude, you know they don't have the money. Are you seriously going to let Mom and Dad lose the house just to prove a point?" Ah, there it was, the guilt trip, right on cue. I could have answered right away, but nah. I leaned back and let them stew in their panic, Let them see maybe for the first time that I wasn't their safety net anymore. After about 20 minutes, my phone buzzed again. A call from Dad? Straight to voicemail. Mom's call? Same treatment. Another text from Zach, answer your phone, this isn't funny. I couldn't help but chuckle. Funny, that's exactly what it was to me. For years I had been pouring money into that house like a fool, no questions asked, no complaints. And the second I stopped, everything came crashing down. So, what had they been doing all this time? Did they even try to prepare for this? I finally decided to respond, no time for arguing. I texted back, not my problem. 10 seconds later, Mom called again, and I picked up. She was screaming, how dare you? You can't just abandon your family like this, Evan. You know we need your help. We trusted you. I stayed calm and said, oh, like how you trusted me to just keep paying for everything while Zach does nothing all day? She snapped back, don't talk about your brother like that. He's going through a rough time. I actually laughed, a rough time? Mom, Zach's been going through a rough time for 10 years. You know who else had a rough time? Me, while I was working hard to keep a roof over your heads. She sucked in a breath, but I wasn't done. You told me not to come back, I continued, so I didn't. And now that the money's dried up, you suddenly act like I owe you something. That's not how this works. Silence. Then Dad's voice cut in, he must have grabbed the phone from her. Evan, he said, his voice low and measured, we just need a little help, just this month. We're behind, and we don't have enough to cover it. If you don't help, the bank is going to start foreclosure proceedings. Something sharp twisted inside me, not guilt, just anger. This was always their play, push, push, push until I had no choice but to give in, make me feel like the bad guy for finally setting boundaries. But not this time. I exhaled through my nose and said, sell the house. Mom's voice exploded in the background, we can't sell the house, it's our family home. I shrugged, even though they couldn't see me. Sounds like a personal problem, I replied. Dad took a deep breath, trying to keep it together. Evan, be reasonable. We just need a little support until we figure things out. Figure things out? I echoed, my voice flat. Like how to finally get Zach to pull his weight or how to guilt trip me into fixing your mistakes again? Enough, Dad snapped. I'm done begging. You're our son, and you will help us. I felt a slow, bitter smile creep onto my face. There it was, the real them. Not desperate or helpless, but entitled. Well, I said, dragging out the word, it looks like you'll have to figure this one out on your own. And I hung up. Immediately, the texts started pouring in, one after another from Mom, Dad, and Zach. Angry, desperate, insulting. But I didn't care. For the first time in years, I felt free. Though, deep down, I knew this wasn't over, not even close. A few hours later, feeling pretty good, I stretched out on my couch, flipped through some TV channels, and enjoyed the rare silence of a day where I didn't get sucked into the family's endless demands. Then my phone rang again. I sighed, pretty sure of who it was. But when I checked the screen, I actually laughed. Zach, again. I let it ring out, then played the voicemail for my own amusement. Dude, Zach's voice started, low and serious, like he was some wannabe mafia enforcer, you really messed up this time. Mom's crying, Dad's freaking out. You need to call them back and fix this. I rolled my eyes. Fix this? Like I had burned their house down or something, instead of just stopping my role as their personal ATM. I was about to delete the message when Zach's voice dropped even lower, like he was about to drop a serious truth bomb. You're being selfish, man. You think you're. So, there I was, just chilling, when I got this voicemail from Zach, all dramatic like usual. He was going on about proving some big point and accusing me of wrecking the family. He even threatened something about not paying the mortgage, but I stopped listening midway. I know him too well, full of empty threats. What's he gonna do, yell at me harder? I deleted the message and went to put my phone down when a text from Dad popped up. Dad was all serious, trying to get me to see how important keeping the house was, like it was some national treasure or something. I couldn't help but laugh. Did they really think I was going to come crawling back just because we might lose the house? I shot back a text saying I was doing just fine without it. That must have really hit a nerve because 2 seconds later, Mom was calling. Against my better judgment, I answered. She skipped the hello and jumped straight into guilt-tripping mode, screeching about how we only had days before the house was gone. I couldn't help but yawn. Was this the home they said I had no right to live in? When she told me not to mock her, I couldn't resist. Oh, I dare, I said, laying it on thick. We rehashed the whole "you told me to leave" saga and how now, somehow, it was all on me to save the day. She tried to pull the whole "this house means the world to us" card, like I hadn't heard it a million times before. Then I asked the million-dollar question: what was the game plan here? Did they really think I'd be stuck paying forever? Silence. They hadn't thought that far ahead. Classic. Mom tried getting Zach in the picture, but she actually laughed when I suggested he help out. Apparently, he's not the responsible type. That's me, the reliable one, always picking up the slack. It dawned on me that I was getting punished for actually being responsible while Zach got a free pass. Anyway, I told her I'd make a call. No, not what she was thinking. I was going to see just how far behind they were on the payments. And surprise, surprise, it wasn't just since I stopped paying. That account had been on the rocks for 8 months. Even when I was sending them money, nothing went to the mortgage. So what were they doing with all that cash? The moment I got off the call with the bank, I decided to hit up Zach. I couldn't wait to see how he'd spin this mess. So, I sent some money, and then everything went quiet. I pushed on, and the bank told me they haven't gotten a full mortgage payment in almost 8 months. So I was like, where the heck did the money go, Zach? There was this long, awkward pause before he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I couldn't help but snort. Come on, man, you live there. You must have noticed something. Are folks suddenly buying more stuff, going on trips? Where did it all go? He stammered, why does that matter? The point is. But I cut him off. The point is they've been lying. They've been letting me pay while they pocketed the rest, and now they're freaking out because my money's dried up. Another silence followed, then suddenly Zach let out a frustrated sigh. You don't get it, Evan. They're our parents, they needed help. Oh, trust me, I replied, sarcasm dripping from my voice. I got that memo loud and clear, every single month for years. Zach fired back, you're being cruel. You're letting them suffer. But I shot back, no, Zach, I'm letting them face the consequences of their actions. I could almost hear him grinding his teeth, but before he could hit me with another guilt trip, I dropped the bombshell. You know, I was actually starting to feel bad about all this, but after finding out they were lying to me for almost a year, they can figure this out without me. Zach growled, you're making a mistake. I just smirked, yeah, we'll see, and I hung up. I barely had time to toss my phone onto the couch before it started buzzing again. Yep, it was Mom. I let it ring. Then another call, and another text. Mom texted, we need to talk right now. I smirked again and typed back, oh, now I'm part of the family again? That's cute. Almost right away, she replied, stop this. You're ruining everything. I cracked my knuckles, grinning. Ruining everything? No, I'm just getting started. I sat back on the couch, watching my phone as messages from Mom and Dad kept pouring in, each one more desperate than the last. My phone buzzed again with a text from Dad. I can't believe you're doing this after everything we've done for you. You're going to let us lose the house. What kind of son are you? I scoffed, shaking my head. Everything they've done for me? If I had $1 for every time they played that card, I could pay off their mortgage myself. Same old guilt trip, but not this time. I wasn't falling for it anymore. I opened my messages and replied, each word calm and deliberate. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. You both keep asking what kind of son I am, but it seems like I'm the only one paying attention. I'm not the one who failed to pay the bills. I'm not the one who ignored the problem for months. Maybe it's time you both learn to deal with your own messes. My thumb hovered over the screen. I almost hit send immediately but paused to take a deep breath. I wasn't going to make this easy for them. This was no longer just about the mortgage, it was about finally taking control back. I hit send a few seconds later. Dad called again. I picked up on the third ring, trying to keep my voice steady. Evan, this isn't you. We raised you better than this. You know we've always been there for you. I couldn't hold back. Really? Because the only thing I remember is you always being there for your own convenience. The bitterness I'd been holding back for years spilled out. I've been covering your debts for so long I can't even count how many times I've saved you, but every time I needed you, you were too busy or wrapped up in your own mess. And now you want to call me ungrateful? There was a long pause on the other end. I could almost sense him scrambling for the right words. We're sorry, Evan, he finally said, his voice cracking. We messed up, but please, we need your help. You know we can't make it without you. I paused again, tapping my fingers on the armrest. No, Dad. You need to learn to stand on your own. You've been living off my generosity for too long. It's not my job to fix your mistakes anymore. Please, he begged, don't do this. We'll pay you back, we swear. I let out a humorless laugh. Funny, because I've been waiting for that payback for years. Where is it, Dad? Where's the appreciation for everything I've done? More silence, then finally, Evan, I'm sorry. I was wrong. You've been more than generous, and I took you for granted. But don't let us lose the house, please. I'm begging you, this is everything. It was a weak plea, the kind I'd gotten used to over the years, but this time it didn't work. No, I said flatly. You're going to figure this out on your own. I'm done. I hung up before he could say anything else, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and relief. This wasn't a victory over them, it was freedom. Finally, I was no longer their safety net. But then I saw another text from Mom, you don't understand. You'll regret this. You'll see how far this will go. We need you, Evan. Don't let this ruin everything. I almost snorted. She still didn't get it. They both still thought I was just a tool to use whenever it suited them. I shot back another text without hesitation. You've had enough time. I'm done bailing you out. Deal with the mess you made. I'm not your fall guy anymore. Then I turned my phone off. An emotional weight felt like it had been lifted, but at the same time, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. So, here I am, asking you guys for your opinion. Did I go too far? Should I have tried a different way to sort this out, or did I finally do the right thing by cutting them off and making them face the consequences of their actions? I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Let me know.